podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Welcome back.
Thank you for staying with us after the break. Yeah.
After those messages,
we'll be right back. For those of you who are not totally confused yet, this is the beginning of the show. Welcome to Films and Fermentation, episode 149. We are one episode away from Films and Fermentation live.
Live.
We've been pushing it a lot the last couple of weeks. We're going to be pushing it some more on social media. We'd like you to come join us in a live chat for our 150th episode on Tuesday, May 7th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time as we look at the plot holes of the Star Wars movies.
Even if you want to come on and just heckle us, just show up.
just be there. I don't even care if you type anything into the chat. We just would like to have some audience for us. But tonight is episode 149. We're looking at, we're going to do another movie deep dive because it is the 25th anniversary of a film that is a favorite of all three of us, I'm going to venture to say. It's the it's the 25th anniversary of Kevin Smith's Dogma.
Yes.
Again, welcome to Films and What's that?
By far, probably my favorite of Kevin Smith.
But your favorite of the Kevin Smith films?
Yes.
I think it's my favorite's still Clerks, his original, but I think it's one of his more ambitious films.
And I know Mallrats was kind of juvenile, but so was I. So I enjoyed Mallrats.
Was?
I think a lot of people would argue that his best movie is probably Chasing Amy.
It was a good movie.
But it is a really good movie and actually has a connection to Dogma that I will be talking about later on. So, again, if you have no idea what you're listening to, we're Films and Fermentation. We're a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
For anybody new out there, we're just three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. And as I said in this episode, we welcome fellow cinephiles to a celestial celebration of cinematic scenery. Say that 5 times fast.
No.
Get ready to dive into the divine chaos as we mark the 25th anniversary of Kevin Smith's holy masterpiece, Dogma. See, that's Molly joining in. She's a dog. Join us as we dissect the heavenly hilarity, the divine dialogue, and, of course, the unforgettable antics of Jay and Silent Bob. So grab your angel wings and devil horns because this podcast is about to get blessed with laughter. I am such a good writer.
Wow.
So creative. Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. We're everywhere, including now Blue Sky Social. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or buying our merchandise at teespring.com. We are part of the Deluxe Edition Network. That's right, The Den. You can find out more about our podcast and all the other podcasts at the Deluxe Edition Network by going to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Our podcast of the month on the network, Quad Pro Quo, The Steve and Crypto Show, and Drink O'Clock.
The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
With a lineup of shows covering various topics, such as interviews with a wide variety of guests, history, music, relationships, true crime, and so much more. The Den provides content that caters to a diverse range of interests.
The hosts and guests on the Deluxe Edition Network demonstrate a deep passion and expertise in their respective fields, making each episode on each show engaging and thought-provoking.
The network fosters a sense of community by encouraging listeners to interact through live chats, social media, and forums, creating an inclusive environment for discussion and sharing opinions.
With its commitment to high-quality production, the shows in the Deluxe Edition Network continue to captivate and entertain its ever-growing audience.
Whether you're a podcast enthusiast or someone looking to explore new topics, The Den is a fantastic platform to dive into and uncover fascinating insights from experts in their fields.
The Deluxe Edition Network is the home of independent awesomeness.
To find all these great podcasts in one convenient location, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Quad Pro Quo. Right now, you are probably thinking to yourself, oh great, another movie podcast. Well, dear listener, you would be right. But throw in a couple of marriages, decades-long friendships, and a shared property line, and you have just another movie podcast with a shitload of drama. Inspired by the iconic quid pro quo scene in Silence of the Lambs, each week one of us will pick a movie. It could be a childhood favorite, a classic film noir, an Academy Award winner, or a complete dumpster fire that brings joy to that person's heart. The selector's objective? To get us to love, or at the very least, not hate their pick. Will our marriages, our friendships, and our neighborhood survive? Find out each Thursday on Quad Pro Quo.
Yeah, and that's one of our podcasts of the month at the Den, Quad Pro Quo. Also, make sure you check out the Stephen Crypto Show and Drink O'Clock. Speaking of drinking, what is tonight's drink menu, gentlemen?
I got it.
Go for it.
I am drinking a seasonal from Shiner. It's called Shriner Hill Country Peach Wheat Seasonal. Ale brewed with peaches and natural flavors. It is only 4.5% alcohol by volume, but man, you can taste the peach in this.
Are they out of Georgia?
No, it's out of Texas.
Wow.
They got peaches in Texas?
First I heard of it.
I thought you didn't like peaches.
I love peaches.
And I thought you weren't a fan of the hairy fruit.
No, I am a very.
It's just a little peach fuzz.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of peaches. Peach cobbler. This.
It's because you're so close. You grew up so close to Georgia, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So if you remember, gentlemen, I went out and got myself a seasonal pack from Great Lakes Brewing Company. I've been working my way through some of them. Lee, I think you tried this over the weekend. This is the Midwest IPA, which is a sensible amount of hops, politely greets a mild-mannered finish. Welcome to the unofficial IPA of the Midwest. Nice. It is 7% alcohol by volume. And Great Lakes is out of the Great Lakes. Yeah, it's out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Good things came out of Cleveland.
Yeah, that thing wasn't bad. That Midwest IPA. It was. I said it was like it reminded me of like an Allagash IPA.
Yeah, and I'm going to follow that up with Elliot Ness, which is always a good go-to.
Ooh, I like Elliot Ness. That's a good one. I've had that from Great Lakes Brewing. I decided. I guess I'm going theme tonight. So one of my favorite scenes in the movie Dogma is when Metatron introduces himself to Bethany for the first time and snaps their way to a Mexican restaurant so he can have some tequila. So that is what I'm drinking tonight. I am having some Jose Cuervo Silver Especial on ice with a little bit of lime to give it some.
Are you
tart.
going to eat it like Metatron and spit it out because you can't consume alcohol?
No, fortunately, I'm human and I have a penis, so I'm just swallowing it.
That's what she
I don't have a Ken doll, facade. Mike, anything special happened this week?
This week in film history. In 1954, Seven Samurais, Japanese film directed by Akira Kurosawa, excuse me, starring Toshiro, good Lord, Mifune,
Very good.
is released.
I'm joshing with you, but because I love Akira Kurosawa. He's one of my favorite directors.
Yeah,
And Toshihiro Mifune is an actor who's been in almost every one of his movies. He was actually asked to be, I want to say he was asked to be in The Matrix, but turned it down. Because he's not an English speaking actor, so it probably would have been difficult for him. But
because he didn't
he is,
understand.
he was going to be like the Morpheus character, I believe.
Well, was it The Matrix or was it Star Wars? Because I thought George Lucas had also seen it and thought to offer him the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, that was that as well. Yeah, because he was, he's a big fan of Kurosawa, and a lot of like his films, he borrowed stuff from them.
Yes.
Seven Samurai we talked about before because it is the movie that was adapted in America as Magnificent Seven.
And it was the sequel to Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
No, it was not.
No.
Seven. I like Akira Kurosawa. A lot of his movies are adaptations of Shakespeare stories, and then a lot of his movies were also adapted into American films as well. So he's a very influential director. One of my favorite movies of his is called Throne of Blood, which is his version of Shakespeare's Macbeth.
That's a comedy, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious. It is hilarious. His death scene is pretty funny, unintentionally. And the second fact, I didn't look at your facts earlier, Mike, so I'm like seeing this for the first time, and I'm like, wow, we actually talked about this last week. This is almost like a note from last show.
Well, because we're pretty much going back to back with an Iron Man one.
Yeah.
Two different Iron Mans. 2010, Iron Man 2, directed by Jon Favreau, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow, premieres in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and we had talked about this last week when you had given us the fact about Iron Man 3 being released. Evan asked the question, what is our favorite, Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3? And we had our little discussion about that. Yeah, and I said that's why I said it's almost like a note from last show because we kind of had this discussion already. It's kind of funny. I added the third one in. I'm not going to play this. I put a link in there for you guys if you want to check it out later. But Disney Plus is releasing a new documentary soon called Jim Henson Idea Man. And I watched the trailer earlier. It's a 2-minute trailer. And I was already crying, and it was just a trailer.
Oh, God.
Because it is his life story, his legacy as a creator, the ideas that he had, the things that he invented in Hollywood and stuff. And the whole trailer is played to Rainbow Connection. And so I was like already emotional watching it. Honestly, I didn't even watch the documentary yet. But it's
too soon.
Yeah, but it's coming on Disney Plus. It looks really, really good. So I'm not going to play it here because we got enough to do tonight. But I put the link in there if you guys want to check it out later.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mike, you have any must-try beer or craft destinations for us this evening?
No, I forgot to get them ready.
You're pulling a Kevin tonight.
What?
Kev, do you have any beer news as good news this evening?
Well, I'm not going to be topped by Mike, so no. No, I do. I have one story I can give you when you're ready.
Hold on. Mike, you got something already? Like
I got a pile one, so I can just pull one real quick. Yeah. Here we go.
He's not going to have enough time to proofread it, though.
Yes.
No.
We'll edit this in post.
I got a must-try beer from Herbert Pale Ale, Melvin Brewing Company, Wyoming. Herbert is Melvin's 6% alcohol by volume pale ale that, with its fresh, strong, sage-like hop character, may understandably be mistaken for an IPA. Pod and oregano fill out the unusual herbal, spicy, aromatic hoppiness, and the beer pours hazy orange with lots of white fluff. Hops makes an even bigger impact on the palate, but it's mostly that herbal sage flavor, and there's little in the way of bitterness. There you go, guys. Must try beer.
Way to pull it out your ass. I was just saying to Katie before we start recording, I was like, you know what? I think tonight's episode is going to be a really organized, well-produced episode that doesn't go off the rails at all.
Yes, they always are.
No. Well,
We didn't get to the main segment yet.
Just so you guys know, I got stuck, making Adrian's character for wrestling.
Oh, is that what? Well, at least I had the excuse that I was watching RoboCop, and that's how I lost track of time.
I'm always late.
Didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this.
Well-oiled machine.
Yes, we are a well-oiled machine. I meant to do this. Here we go.
Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. And stop. Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. Let's go drink some beer.
So what's your news tonight there, Kev?
Well, gentlemen, if you weren't aware, in Las Vegas this past Wednesday, they held the Craft Brewers Conference. And one of the events at the Craft Brewers Conference is the World Beer Cup. So on Wednesday
is that like Das Boot?
Das Boot. Beer makers from around the globe celebrated their accolades in what's billed as the industry's largest and most prestigious competition. This year, World Beer Cup judges evaluated 9,300 beers from 2,060 breweries. That's a lot of beers.
Those guys must have some big ass bladders.
I'm telling you, man. I cracked the seal. Fuck, we're done. Participation was down substantially from the 10,213 beers in the 2,300 breweries in 2023. So it was a late year for them.
Well, there's a lot of closing of those breweries, so
yeah.
But apparently, this was the first congruent or annual. Like they started going annually as opposed to biannually every other year. So maybe they just weren't prepared. What state do you think made out with the most medals?
What
beer? State?
Oh, what state?
What state in the continental United States won out with the most medals?
Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to say New Jersey.
Shits and giggles it is.
Was it New Jersey?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I wanted to see if Mike had anything to contribute.
I would say
North Carolina.
No. There's a lot come out of Virginia and a lot come out of Nevada. So maybe one of those.
Go west, my friends. It's Colorado.
Wow.
Made out with an impressive 21 medals, including 9 gold.
Hey,
they were all for Coors Light.
They were all Coors
Silver
Light.
Bullet.
River North Brewery in Denver and the Post Brewing Company in Lafayette were the night's biggest winners with 2 medals each. River North brought home gold for its Nightmare Fuel in the coffee stout porter category, and bronze for its pumpkin spice bucket of bolts in the pumpkin beer category. Post garnered silver for the East County fine malt liquor in another strong beer category, and bronze for Top Rope in the American style cream ale category. Big winners throughout the night. I'll just chime in my dog to bark while I'm reading the news. I'll go over the gold winners. I don't see anything here that I've tried, but now I have a list of things I want to. We have the Treachery, which is a Belgian-style strong blonde ale from 12 Degrees Brewing in Louisville. We have the French lager Bière Ambry from Bandit Oak Brewing in Denver, which was another Belgian style. The Dry Irish Stout from Bent Barley Brewing Company in Aurora, which was a classic Irish style dry stout. River North Brewery, which I mentioned earlier, with the coffee stout. Nightmare Fuel. This seems like a Hawaiian name. Kauai, Kauai, K-A-U-A-I. I can't pronounce that.
Joey.
Sounds like a
Kauai
coffee
pie, right?
Yep.
That was a desert, a dessert stout or pastry stout out of Bull and Bush Brewery in Denver.
Heard those desert stouts are very dry.
They should be.
But
ESB from Old 121 Brewhouse, which was an extra special bitter beer. Prost Like Beer from Prost Brewing Company in Denver, which was an international light. Venga Cerveceira.
Sound like me trying to pronounce
Yeah, I'm
that.
telling you. Cerveceira, Colorado, was an international Pilsner. And the last gold was the Swift Half from Station 26 Brewing Company, which was a Sessions beer or Belgian-style table beer. And the list goes on. Scanning through, I'm not seeing anything local from either Jersey or Pennsylvania or even Delaware. Wait. Oh, no. I see Sweetwater, but Sweetwater is not close to us. Anyway, so yeah, lots of fun. We'll have to keep an eye on the World Beer Cup next year. And that's
okay.
your news.
Maybe if we'll get lucky, it'll be in either PA or New Jersey or somewhere nearby.
That would be cool to go to, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I love gold. All right. So we're going to talk about, again, our live episode coming up in very shortly soon, May 7th, which is a Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a Star Wars Day celebration. We know Star Wars Day is May 4th, but we're not recording it until May 7th. So it's our Star Wars episode. We're going to be talking about filling in the plot holes, but this time it's our Star Wars edition. It's episode 150 live. And if you need some more incentive, bless you, if you need some more incentive to come watch the show, it's this. Michael gave Kevin and I
stripping.
Michael gave Kevin and I these little presents that we were told we were not allowed to open until the live broadcast. I have not opened mine. You can see it's still sealed. I still got tape on it. Still in its little pretty blue packaging here. I have no idea what's in it. I've shaken it a few times, but I still can't figure it out. So I don't know. Kev, do you still have yours, or did you lose it?
I have mine. It's upstairs. It's in the office. I am taking a guess. I didn't open it, but I do think that Mike got us cassette tapes of Wilson Phillips. Hold up for
one more day. It's I don't know what it might be, but I'm curious to find out. I really want to open it. It's been sitting here on my desk staring at me every episode we record. So
Kev, you're close. I made you each mixtapes.
Mixtapes, yes.
It's got Wilson Phillips, and it's got Debbie Gibson and Tiffany and more.
I hope mine has Manic Monday from the Bengals on it. So if you're as curious as we are as to what's inside the box, what's in the box? Make sure you tune in for our live show May 7th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time to find out. We'll be right back after these words from Coffee Brothers.
I love a good beer, but right now I could use a good cup of coffee.
Have you heard about Coffee Brothers?
Oh yeah, they're that coffee company out of New York, right?
Well, they're more like a coffee wizards of New York City. They source these amazing seasonal blends and single origin coffees. It's like a flavor adventure in every cup. And get this, they roast everything in small batches. None of that mass-produced stuff. It's like each bean gets the VIB treatment.
VIB?
Very important bean.
Sounds fancy, but is it worth it?
Definitely. Plus, they're a 2-person team. I mean, that's dedication right there. 2 brothers, 1 mission to caffeinate the world. And right now, you can save 10% on your order. I mean, who doesn't love a good discount?
All right, you've convinced me. Let's get some Coffee Brothers now.
Coffee Brothers, where every cup is a sip of perfection. Save 10% on your next order with the code FNF10. That's FNF10. Cheers to great coffee. We're back from that quick break. Thank you to Coffee Brothers. As we said before, our main segment tonight is the 25th anniversary of one of our favorite films, Kevin Smith's Dogma.
That's why I had to come down here this morning, man. That's why I had to miss my cartoons. You call me, you tell me it's important. We're going home. Take it, man, and quit leering at me. People are gonna think I just broke up with you.
2 fallen angels have just discovered a loophole that can get them back into heaven.
Outstanding work!
All they have to do is get to Red Bank, New Jersey. There's only one problem.
What are you? What do you want with me?
Stop a couple of angels from entering and thus negating all existence. I hate it when people need it spelled out for them.
Now,
I'm to charge you with a holy crusade.
One person has been chosen to stop them, but she won't have to do it alone.
I'm Jay. This is my head of a life mate, Silent Bob.
You gotta be kidding me.
Prophets. In a manner of speaking.
What about sex?
No sex.
Guys, I guess just don't follow the guy, you know. Oh, that sucks.
What are you?
I was the 13th apostle.
You knew Christ.
No. Brother owes me $12. I thought she looked familiar.
Let me guess. 14th apostle.
Would like 2 tickets to New Jersey, please?
Jersey's sold out, sir. I suggest you not underestimate the staggering drawing power of the Garden State.
They're successful. You, me, all of this ends in a heartbeat. I feel like Han Solo, you're Chewie, and she's Ben Kenobi.
Prepare to taste God's wrath. Anyone who isn't dead or from another plane of existence would do well to cover their ears right about now.
The whole world's against us, dude. I swear to God.
What's he like?
God, he's got a great sense of humor. Take sex, for example.
Sex is a joke in heaven.
The way I understand it, it's mostly a joke down here, too.
Get it?
That trailer was everywhere. That trailer was all over the place.
Yeah.
Jesus.
A true '90s trailer.
We can always use more Selma Hayek stripping, believe me.
Yeah, that was the she did From Dusk Till Dawn and then did this film and then stopped. But I would say like the trailer was like it starts out like, oh, this is a comedy, but it might have some dramatic moments. But then we're going to end it with the theme song from Sanford and Son. Like it was. Totally all over the place, that trailer. I will like to point out though that every time somebody asks me why I moved to New Jersey, I always answer with, please don't underestimate the drawing power of the Garden State. So let's, as always, when we do our deep dives in these films, take a look at the magnificent IMDb synopsis. According to
IMDb.
Yes. An abortion clinic worker with a special heritage is called upon to save the existence of humanity from being negated by 2 renegade angels trying to exploit a loophole and re-enter heaven. Not bad. That was one of IMDb's better synopses, I think. I think you kind of forget after a while that she's an abortion clinic worker.
Yes.
I mean, it's a brief part of the beginning of the film. The movie is directed and written, of course, as we said, by Kevin Smith. Stars Ben Affleck, Matt Damon as Bartleby and Loki, the Renegade Angels, Linda Fiorentino as Bethany, the Last Zion. You have Jay and Silent Bob, of course, who pop up in many of the Kevin Smith flicks. We have George Carlin as Cardinal Glick, Chris Rock as the 13th Apostle Rufus, Jason Lee as Azrael, and of course Salma Hayek as Serendipity the Muse. So here is a much more summarized version of the synopses. In Kevin Smith's 1999 film Dogma, two fallen angels, Loki and Bartleby, discover a loophole in Catholic doctrine that could allow them to re-enter heaven. This discovery sets off a series of cosmic events that draw in a diverse cast of characters, including the unlikely duo of Jay, played by Jason Mewes, and Silent Bob, played by Kevin Smith. As they navigate through the theological debates, encounters with celestial beings, and confrontations with demons, the characters confront their beliefs, desires, and prejudices. With Smith's trademark blend of irreverent humor and philosophical insight, Dogma explores themes of faith, redemption, and the complexities of religious dogma in a thought-provoking and comedic manner.
I have one problem with that summary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Jay confronted either his beliefs, desires, or his prejudices in this movie.
He definitely confronts his desires in the film because he has Bethany to fuck him every other scene.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it happens.
He runs his desires when Rufus falls out of the sky. He's like, dudes just don't fall out of the sky. And then Rufus hits the ground. And he's like, giant, beautiful, big titty women don't just fall out of the sky. So I watched this a few nights ago, rewatched it. I have to say, I haven't watched this in a while. Been a couple years probably.
You probably haven't watched it because it's nowhere to be found. It is elusive, and looking into it, it seems like a rather shitty reason as to why it's so elusive.
Yeah, I don't even know why it's elusive. What did you find out?
My loving wife was helping me out with my prep work because you guys know how much prep work I do for my shows.
Yeah, you can go up without even combing your hair.
It's combed. It's combed. According to I think this is a Read It response, so you know it's got to be true.
Yeah.
Dogma has its distribution rights owned by Bob and Harvey Weinstein personally. They have declined at least 2 offers to sell the rights back to Kevin Smith and are not allowing the film to be bought, rented, or streamed digitally for reasons of their own.
It's possible that has something to do with the Weinstein Corporation, although now that fucking monster has been exonerated of his crimes due to speaking of loopholes, due to the loophole in the law. You know, he was recently exonerated and released from prison.
That's all that.
Serving years of like a 30-year sentence.
Yeah. According to Kevin Smith, my movie about angels is owned by the devil himself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably the reason. Although now that he's out of prison, maybe we'll get a Dogma like Blue Steel or something, or a Steelbook.
Got to pay those bills.
It was weird, yeah, because I went on Amazon. I was going to buy it on Amazon because I've done that with a few films recently that I wanted to watch, and it wasn't even available there. Like you can get every Kevin Smith movie except for Dogma.
I swore I saw it was for rent on Dogma on Amazon.
No, it wasn't even available for rent. I happened to own it on DVD and had to, for the first time in a really long time, break out the DVD player to watch it.
That's why I have a PlayStation.
That's why I have a PlayStation.
Probably should have watched it on my PlayStation, but Katie wanted to watch it too, so I hooked up the DVD player for it. But I haven't watched it in a couple of years, and it was still as funny as always. I laughed at a lot of things that I forgot about. But I tried to watch it with a more critical eye this time around since we were going to be doing a deep dive into it. And I forgot how many really poignant, sentimental scenes there are, scenes that are really touching in the film.
Yes.
Especially scenes with like Bethany and Metatron.
Metatron, where she's at the side of the river, the lake, or whatever.
Yeah, it's too much. I don't want this. It's too much. And he explains to her, telling Jesus that and all. Yeah,
and it's kind of reflective of the stories from the Bible. You know?
And he's like, but Emily, I've never told anybody this. I would if I could have.
Yeah, I would have taken it back if I could. Yeah. There's another great scene we'll talk about a little later too, where with Bartleby and Loki, and it's right about the time where Bartleby starts like switching from this was just an idea I had to like this is what I want to do, and starts turning into the guy that becomes the evil angel at the end of the film. But there were some obviously some controversies and some protests about this film when it first came out, because why wouldn't there be when it's a film involving Catholicism and God and the biggest protest was when people found out that God was going to be played by a woman.
Don't you make fun of my religion? That's what we have the other religions for.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy, and so people as always would protest even before they saw the film. But I have here a quick clip I'm going to play you guys. It's from one of the protests. There was I believe this is in L.A. around the time of the premiere, and there's a reporter talking to some of the protesters outside. And she gets to interview a very special guest at the protest.
The new movie Dogma opens tonight, and it's already generating a huge amount of controversy, and so is its creator, Kevin Smith, who lives right here in New Jersey.
News 12 New Jersey's Caroline Shively reports on one protest against the movie in Eatontown tonight.
Hail Mary, full of grace. Organizers in Eatontown had hoped for hundreds to join them in the protest against the movie Dogma. Instead, they got less than 24, but they were joined by this man. He wouldn't admit it, but he looked and sounded suspiciously like Dogma's writer, director, co-star, and New Jersey resident, Kevin Smith.
I don't think it stands for anything positive.
What does it stand for?
I don't know, but I've been told not good.
The movie follows two fallen angels who try to get back into heaven and the people who are fighting to keep them out.
I was the 13th apostle.
You knew Christ.
No, brother owes me $12.
But lines like that have many groups angry.
We're here with a small number, but we're the church militant. We should have more Catholics here. If this was a direct attack against Muslims or the Holocaust or the Jewish people, you would see them outraged.
The protesters didn't seem to slow down the number of people pouring into the theater to see the film.
Just makes me want to see it more, actually, if there's controversy about it.
I think they might be taking it too seriously. I mean, it's just a film. It's a comedy, so you really shouldn't take it too seriously.
The battle between the protesters and filmmakers is sure to continue for as long as the film runs. But in the end, this is a fight that might be won or lost at the box office. In Eatontown, Caroline Shively, News 12, New Jersey.
Smith's production company, View Askew, actually posts hate mail it receives on its website.
I'm confused.
Yeah. By
Jersey
what? Catholic militant?
No. New Jersey has its own television station? I thought it was either New York or Philadelphia they got.
I actually I thought it was an LA thing because I didn't like really pay attention to it, but it was
New Jersey 12.
New Jersey.
I didn't pay attention to it.
I didn't pay attention to it when I prepped it because I was just looking for a video with Kevin Smith at the protest, and that's the one.
I'm just confused. I didn't know Jersey had its own television station.
Stop. You are misinterpreting the drawing power of the Garden State.
That's right.
No, I'm not. I'll pay to leave it.
We are mighty.
I love Kevin Smith had the best response when he got it. As like, it's not a good thing. At least that's what they told me. That's not a summation of what some of these protests are.
If that's not a summation of what religion is.
Yeah, somebody told me.
Somebody told me.
I want to go to the View Askew website and read some of the hate mail. It's probably where they got the idea for moviepoopshoot.com and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah, but I think most of the hate mail that would be posted now would have been the later films that they produced.
Yeah, I got to see what people have to say about Tusk. So let's talk about scenes and quotes from the film that are some of our favorites. For this, I know this is a favorite for all of us. So again, I have one more. Promise you guys, this is the last clip I have. We're going to be going right into everything after this. But here is Cardinal Glick, played by George Carlin, introducing us to his new idea to bring people back to the Catholic Church.
The crucifix. While it has been a time-honored symbol of our faith, Holy Mother Church has decided to retire this highly recognizable yet wholly depressing image of our Lord crucified. Christ didn't come to earth to give us the willies. He came to help us out. He was a booster. And it's with that take on our Lord in mind that we've come up with a new, more inspiring sigil. So it is with great pleasure that I present you with the first of many revamps the Catholicism Wow campaign will unveil over the next year. I give you the Buddy Christ. Now, that's not the sanctioned term we're using for the symbol, just something we've been kicking around the office. But look at it. Doesn't it pop? Buddy Christ.
It's not the official term, just something we're kicking around the office. I had a Buddy Christ on the dashboard of my car after this movie came out.
I think I still have one in a box somewhere around here, but I got mine straight from Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash directly from Red Bank, New Jersey, which I traveled to twice now.
That's awesome. So what are some other scenes and quotes and shit from the film that we
Rules
really
of the
like?
Road?
Rules of the Road? That's Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's where George Carlin gives the bus driver a Hummer.
Mm-hmm.
I like a black man can steal your radio, but he can't be your savior.
No, I like this. Bethany is the great grandniece of Jesus Christ. So you're saying she's part black? So I would start from the beginning because I mean after you get through all like the Bethany backstory stuff, you have the opening scene is Bartleby and Loki at the airport, where he's talking the nun out of being a nun because he has fun doing that shit.
You've been in the presence of God.
The first like major scene we get is Bethany in bed and being visited by the Metatron, which is a great scene starring the late great and again another lost too soon actor Alan Rickman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to my Alan Rickman story now since it's the first time we meet him in the film. They were looking for an actor to play the role of Metatron in the film. Kevin Smith never thought he would be able to get somebody like Alan Rickman in one of his movies, but he was approached by Alan Rickman's agent, who told him that Alan Rickman had just seen Chasing Amy and loved the film and would like to work with the filmmaker. Like he was approached by Alan Rickman himself, basically. He gave him the script, told him to read the role of Metatron. He loved it. He signed on right away. And Kevin Smith, I heard him talk about this in an interview recently that up until his death, he and Alan Rickman remained friends. And every time Alan Rickman came to LA, he would take Kevin Smith out to lunch.
How about that?
I think that's such a cool thing because it just shows you how awesome Alan Rickman fucking was just in real life. You think of him like this like stodgy British actor, but it was like Chasing Amy was one of his favorite movies. So that's your first great scene. You get the Ken doll reveal. That takes us to the scene in the Mexican restaurant where we learned that angels can't drink anymore.
Right.
Basically because of something Bartleby and Loki did. He tells her her mission.
Oh God, to fuck off.
Yeah. He tells her her mission is to stop these two angels from walking through the front doors of this church and therefore undoing all of existence. And she will be helped by two prophets. Cut to Jay and Silent Bob.
That John Hughes guy, motherfucker.
So as they were looking for Sherman, Illinois.
They could have the blunt hookup in Sherman, Illinois.
Yeah, but then find out that there is no such place as Sherman, Illinois.
There's nothing. And you know what? Jay did say something really true in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed it. There's nothing worse than watching a fat man cry.
I'm sorry. When my cat died, it was very sad.
I know it was, but
and I'm not fat. I'm festively plump.
you also aren't crying to 16 Candles either. So
I do cry to Field of Dreams.
Don't we all?
I did cry when I watched the trailer for the Jim Henson documentary. So what are some other scenes you guys like? I'm not going to hog up this category here. So.
Oh God, I mean,
I liked the scene. They're on the train, and they're talking like they Loki and Barnaby don't realize that Bethany and the rest of them are, going to the same place for the same situation, and how finally Bob kicks him off the train, looks and says, "No ticket." It's the only line he says in the movie.
Which is, of course, a throwback to
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I like
No ticket.
I like the bus scene where you're in the back and the guy's making out with his girl and they're debating and like I love the part where he just puts the gun, just blows him. That is the angel that's gonna smite you.
They get kicked off the bus and they can't they gotta start walking at this point and Bartleby looks at Loki all upset, but he's like, whose house? Ron's house. My I'll throw some quotes out here because the quotes, I think, the best scenes are kind of wrapped around by these quotes anyway. So here's my favorite quote from Azrael, the demon played by Jason Lee. No pleasure, no rapture, no exquisite sin greater than sensual air. When I was talking about the Metatron scene,
was an artist.
Yeah. Metatron, when he meets Bethany for the first time, and she doesn't know what the Metatron is, and he's talking, and then he says something about the plagues or something like that, and she's like, the 10 plagues, and he's like, yeah, mention something out of a Charlton Heston movie, and suddenly everybody's a theology scholar.
Yeah.
When Bethany meets Jay and Silent Bob for the first time, they save her from the three guys, the three hockey demons.
Yeah.
And they're in the restaurant right after that because she's trying to figure out a way to ask them to take her to New Jersey. And Jay's just worried about whether or not she's going to have sex with one of them.
She doesn't want sloppy seconds.
Yeah, she gets angry and she makes like she's going to slap him or something. And he stands up and he goes, "I'll scream rape." We have the no ticket. When the whole group of them go to Cardinal Glick to ask him not to have the ceremony, not to open the church that day. He's explaining to them some different things, and he's like, the Catholic Church doesn't make mistakes. And Rufus is like, the Holocaust, the Black Plague, and he mentions a bunch of things, and he goes, "All right, mistakes were made." We were talking about this earlier, some of the poignant scenes. There's a scene where Bethany and Metatron are talking, and she's like, "What was he like, Jesus?" And Metatron's or God, "What's he like, God?" And Metatron's response is, "God, lonely, but funny. He's got a great sense of humor. Take sex, for example. There's nothing funnier than ridiculous faces you people make mid-coitus." And she's like, "Sex is a joke in heaven." And he's like, "The way I understand it, it's mostly a joke down here, too." And then there's we talked about this, the scene in the water where she runs away and she runs into the lake. She's like, "I don't want this. It's too big." And then this is his monologue in that scene, which is so beautiful. That's what Jesus said. I had to tell him. You can imagine how hurt that the father was, not to be able to tell the son himself because one word from his lips would destroy the boy's fragile human form. So I was forced to deliver the news to a scared child who wanted nothing more than to play with other children. I had to tell this little boy that he was God's only son and that it meant a life of persecution and eventual crucifixion at the hands of the very people he came to enlighten and redeem. He begged me to take it back as if I could. He begged me to make it all not true. And I'll let you in on something, Bethany. Something I never told anyone before. If I had the power, I would have. It's like people, give Kevin Smith a lot of shit for some of his movies and some of his writing, but every now and then,
So, I mean, Lee, you brought this book to my attention, and I'm not trying to, diverge us away from the movie, but Lamb, and how that book kind of humanizes Jesus in that particular that whole conversation, that whole monologue, right, humanizes him because he's a kid and he doesn't understand, or he does understand but he hates it. It's such an overwhelming task.
Yeah, this is Films and Fermentation book recommendation corner.
Yeah.
If you've never read this novel.
From the two
Yeah,
teachers.
from the two teachers. It's called Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's Childhood Best Friend. Written by Christopher Moore, who's known for his fairly funny and irreverent books. This is probably his best novel.
Yeah.
And it's about it's told from the point of view of Biff, who is Jesus's best friend growing up. And the book is supposed to be filling in the 18 years that are missing from the Bible between his 12th when he's 12 years old and when he's 30 years old. There's 18 years missing. And so this is like supposed to be documenting his travels and what he learns and how he comes up with the philosophy he comes up with. And Biff is there
for the Magi that visited him on his birth. Yeah.
And like Biff is there to commit all the sins that Jesus can't commit so that he can like give him a reason why they're sins and stuff. And it's it's very poignant in that it does a good job like humanizing who Jesus was as a person. Rufus has another quote in the movie that kind of summarizes that too, and he's like, Jesus digs humanity. It bothers him to see the shit that gets carried out in his name: wars, bigotry, televangelism, but especially the factioning of all the religions. He said humanity took a good idea and, like always, built a belief structure on it. And then Bethany says having beliefs isn't good. And Rufus says, I think it's better to have ideas. You can change an idea. Changing a belief is trickier.
Yeah.
This, of course, comes from the guy who earlier in the movie fell out of the sky and he goes, I knew Jesus. And she goes, wait a minute, you knew Christ? And he goes, knew him? Shit, motherfucker owe me $12. Metatron talks about how he's the voice of God because God's voice is so powerful that it destroys
shatter the head. Yes.
Shatters their head, explodes their hearts, all that stuff. And he goes, we went through 5 Adams before we figured that one out.
And you see that at the end of the movie.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
What? 25, 30 years?
Yes, 25th anniversary.
25th anniversary.
The end of the movie.
I was doing the math in my head. I was going to get
well-oiled machine.
Yeah, the end of the movie where, Matt Damon, Loki's drunk. That's just years of frustration that's coming out. That's bad.
He's like
just dropping
picking
bodies
people up and just dropping them all over the place.
And I have to tell you, the scene where Matt Damon as Loki, as the Angel of Death, goes into the movie board meeting, and how honestly you don't see what's going on, you hear what's going on. I think that made it worse for me because I pictured something really graphic and violent going on, and how much pleasure he was taking.
Don't run away! Get back in!
Squeal like bags!
Thinks you're all thinks. I personally, and I know you're squeamish about these things.
You didn't say God bless you.
I think that's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Oh yeah,
it's just such a great like build up scene. Like they walk in, they do their whole spiel. He reveals all the sins of all the people in the boardroom, and they're all like just horrible people.
He missed the magazine though.
Yeah, he does the voodoo thing with the little onion doll that he carved out, and then gives them some divine justice. And he says to them before he kills them, he goes, "You know what makes a human being decent? Fear. And therein lies the problem. None of you has anything left to fear anymore. You rest comfortably in seats of inscrutable power, hiding behind your false idol, far from judgment. Lives shrouded in secrecy, even from one another, but not from God." what do you believe in? I believe in this. And he comes in with the gun and he's like, I believe in, what the hell does that even mean? Yeah, that's some great shit. Here's a throwaway line that I just noticed this last watch because it's been a while, like I said. But at the end, when everything's all things are going to shit, and they cut to the hospital where God is trapped in the body and all that.
Evacuate the hospital. This is the apocalypse.
Yeah, it says, I repeat, this is not a drill. This is the apocalypse. Please exit the hospital in an orderly fashion. Thank you. When that's the second time that they
God.
Yeah.
I mean, he
He's
loves
a skee-ball fanatic.
He loves skee-ball.
Cardinal Glick, fill the pews, people. That's the key. Grab the little ones as well. Hook them while they're young. Rufus goes, kind of like the tobacco industry, and he goes, Christ,
God.
if only we had their numbers. Oh man, the shit monster of Golgotha.
Knocks out.
That? I haven't even mentioned like half of the stuff that Jay says in the movie. So what's the one I was talking about? Oh, here it is. She gets mad at him because he like overheats their car and all that.
Oh, yeah, he never changes gears. He's like, gears?
You're breaking up with us? Who do you think you are, lady? You can't go around breaking guys' hearts like us. I fell in love with you. I mean, we fell in love with you. Guys like us just don't fall out of the fucking sky, And then Rufus hits the ground. Beautiful, naked, big-titted women just don't fall out of the sky, Or what's the thing he says, Mike, at the movies when they're eating breakfast, and he's like, "Tell me something about myself."
Something about how he masturbates. Yeah, everybody knows that, but you think of guys, dudes,
because you masturbate more than any human being alive, and he's like, everybody knows that because when you do it, you're thinking about guys. And he turns to Bob, and he's like, not all the time.
That's why they end up in the strip club because they're not gay.
Well, they end up in the strip club, so you have a reason to put Salma Hayek on stage.
Candy girl.
I am amused. I am responsible for 19 of the 20 biggest movie box office hits of all time. That one about the boy at Christmas with the burglars. I had nothing to do with that one.
Somebody sold
their soul to Satan to get the rights to that picture.
That piece of shit.
So
I like when she flashed them. She flashed Bethany to show she has no part of it. You hear Jay in the background. They're getting a freebie.
Jason Lee's got a lot of good scenes in this film. We didn't really talk about him much, playing Azrael, who's basically the man with the plan. He slips the news article to Bartleby and Loki that gives him the idea to go to the church, the loophole, because he just wants to undo all of existence because, in his words, it's better than being in that pit. So one of my other favorite scenes, and it's another like kind of serious scene, is right after they get kicked off the train. You get a scene with Bartleby and Loki, and they're in like this like garage, like parking garage thing, and they're arguing with each other over what happened. And Bartleby says, Don't do that. See, don't let your sympathies get the best of you. They did me once. Scion or not, she's still just a human. And by passing through that arch, our sins are forgiven. No harm, no foul. And Loki says, my God, I've heard a rant like this before. Says, what did you say? I've heard a rant like this before. Don't you fucking do that to me. You sound like the Morning Star, man. You sound like Lucifer. You fucking lost it. And I think that's a great fucking scene, too. So I'm monopolizing this. You guys got anything else?
No, you pretty much carried it. You're good.
I've had my 2 cents worth in here.
I had a couple things that stood out to me. I pushed a piece of literature out there for people to read in conjunction with the movie watching and the drinking that we encourage on a weekly basis.
So I'm going to throw this out here. What are some plot holes that you noticed in the film, if any? I know there's one glaring one. If God is supposed to be all-knowing and all-powerful, how did he get,
caught?
Snuck up on the boardwalk like that?
Because it was in human form.
He was in human form, but he's still God. Like the human form is just what traps him because he's unconscious in the human body.
Well, I kind of agree with so you got to figure if you're coming down in human form, you have to like you can't fit it all into the shell, you know. So you're kind of tethered, just like he is in the movie here. So maybe the all powerful, all knowing, all conscious, whatever was going on, is kind of put on pause while he's playing skee ball. You know.
Okay. Well, how about this one? Where was Jesus this whole time?
Don't know.
Yeah, like Rufus knew him.
He gave him Rufus. Jesus gave him Rufus.
Yeah, but Rufus, like, why not? I mean, why send her after them? Why not just send Jesus?
Maybe because this wasn't the second coming. Second coming is supposed to be the end of it all anyway, you know? This wasn't supposed to be
Stop
the
trying
end
to
of
throw logic into my plot holes.
Hey, we're filling them holes.
Here you go. If the angels had no penises or anuses, how are they able to drink alcohol in the first place? Doesn't that shit got to come out somewhere?
They can sweat it out.
We saw that with Metatron as he spits it out.
Yeah, but that's because he wasn't allowed to drink it. Like before, when they were allowed to drink it.
You can sweat it out.
Like garlic.
I don't know. Do angels have pores?
Not alcohol when it gets, sweats out of you. Believe me. Ooh. Go ahead.
I want to know more about them getting banned to Wisconsin since the beginning of time, because that would mean they were kind of there during dinosaur era, I guess.
Well, you gotta remember, Loki actually did the plagues, so it was after the Egyptians.
So yeah, but I mean, so all right, so it would have been like pre-colonial, maybe. First civilizations of the
pre-colonial Victorian era.
Yeah. Somebody wrote on Reddit, you think this movie has plot holes? Read the fucking Bible. So
yeah,
I got
that's in trouble with that.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. I have two things here. Who won the movie? And if you could give this movie one Oscar, who gets it? They don't necessarily have to be the same person. And the Oscar doesn't have to be a person either. It could be like screenplay, picture, something like that. So in your opinion, who won the movie? I think there's only one. You think Chris Rock? I was going to say Alan Rickman.
He was good, but I think Chris Rock had some really not some funny moments, but he had some very serious moments with Bethany, and I thought he did really well in his position.
I mean, if we're looking for range, yes, those are the two obvious choices. I think George Carlin stepped it up. he embodied what he just put out there anyway. He's like, just give me the robes. I already have the character, you know?
I'm gonna throw an argument out there for Ben Affleck too, because he gets shit on for his acting sometimes. But I think he was pretty good in this movie because he shows a real like growth of character when he goes from like this guy with just this idea and this ideal to batshit crazy at the end.
And keep in mind, this was done right after the Apples movie.
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so this was like a Damon Affleck like hot property kind of thing.
Yeah.
He had also done Chasing Amy too, so he was in Kevin Smith's film before. He was in Mallrats as well, Ben Affleck.
Right, but those are pre-Apple film.
We can't forget how Silent Bob carries the movie, though. Only has 2 lines in the whole movie. He says thanks at the end and something else.
It's Jay and Silent Bob are the chorus of the film, kind of like C-3PO and R2-D2 in Star Wars.
He can say so much without saying a word, though.
They're the audience surrogates. They're just watching, observing, and commenting when necessary.
It's like watching Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton. The silence speaks volumes.
It does.
Silence is golden.
Silence.
So one Oscar, who gets it?
Kevin Smith for the screenplay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an original story. There is no story like this.
Well, what did you say? Adapted by the Bible?
based off of characters in the Bible.
Well, I don't know how original it was because me and my friends went to see this movie in the theaters, and at the time we were playing this game called Anomaly, which is where you play the angels.
Mm-hmm.
And the game master at the time had just brought us this angel right before what is it called Rufus. I think Kevin Smith was watching us and made his movie off of our game.
So it's based on previously published material, board, role playing game that Mike was playing.
Yeah.
So that didn't answer the question though. Who gets the Oscar?
It's Kevin Smith.
You're going to give Kevin Smith for screenplay as well?
Yeah. I am.
All right. I'm going to go different. I'm going to give it to Alan Rickman for best supporting actor because he never got a nomination in his career and he goddamn deserved one.
Yes, he did.
Oh yeah, he definitely deserved one. More for for like one of the Harry Potter.
Oh, he should have got one for Die Hard.
He should have got one for Truly, Madly, Deeply.
Yeah, Truly, Madly, Deeply, Die Hard. He could have got one for fucking
Robin Hood. He should have got one for fucking Robin Hood.
He should have gotten
your heart out with the spoon.
He should have gotten one for Deathly Hallows Part 2, just for the line "Always."
Yeah.
So normally at this time when we get done like analyzing the film, we do a little quick recast, but we had so much fun in that previous episode. I thought, why not do a quick Muppet recast for this?
Good.
So just like off the top of your head, it could be one character, it could be a couple characters. It's off the top of your head. I'm going to say this now in my recast. I'm still keeping Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith as Jay and Silent Bob.
Okay.
I'm
not recasting.
I would say for Loki and Barnaby would be Waldorfer Statler.
Okay.
And for Jay and Silent Bob would be Beaker and
Bunsen.
Bunsen, yeah.
I had Beaker and Bunsen as my Loki and Bartleby.
Mm-hmm.
So I could keep Jay and Silent Bob. Miss Piggy obviously would be Bethany. Rufus would be Rolf.
Oh yeah, of course.
Rolf the dog.
Mm-hmm. Metatron would be Sam the Eagle.
Who's that?
Metatron,
Sam the Eagle. That's a good one. I thought Waldorf and Statler could be some of the guys in the movie's boardroom.
Oh, you know who would be Jay and Silent Bob?
Who?
It would be Zoot.
Zoot and Floyd?
Zoot and Floyd. Zoot because he never talked, and Floyd because he was kind of like the high guy. He was sexy man, Silent Bob. Like to line you up with 5 other dudes and make it like a circus seal.
And Gonzo is Azrael.
Yeah, there you go. Gonzo. I forgot to put Gonzo in there. And then God. God could be
God
Janice,
would be Sweetums.
No.
Sweetums.
No, God would have to be the chicken.
The chicken.
Oh.
Camille the chicken is God. No, Sweetums would be the Gilgazan shit monster. We even talk about Gilgazan shit monster. Mike, you have any beer trivia or history for us tonight, or did you forget to fucking do that too?
I got a fun fact right in front of me here. Right here. Got it right here. A study in Japan found that that moderate beer consumption can protect against chromosomal damage caused by radiation. There you go.
Beer can protect us from radiation, basically.
At least your chromosomes.
So how were our drinks this evening, gentlemen?
It was
They
good.
were good. It moved on from the IPA, the Midwestern IPA, to the Elliott Ness, and you can't go wrong with an amber lager like the Elliott Ness.
It's one of my favorite from the Great Lakes Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, what was yours like?
It was good. It's a summer type beer,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a wheat, but it was good.
Well, we're getting there. Almost time for peaches. Millions of peaches. Peaches for me.
Uh-huh.
And I had some Jose Cuervo, Silver Agave Especial Tequila on the rocks with a little bit of lime. I was drinking it out of a mason jar, so I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I was drinking it out of a flower vase. I didn't even remove the flowers.
I thought about using Das Boot, but I was like, no, I got to go to work tomorrow. So thank you for joining us tonight, everybody, for episode 149, the 25th anniversary of Kevin Smith's Dogma. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Please send us your email addresses so we can add you to the Films and Fermentation newsletter listserv. We're also on all the socials. You can find all of our links at linktree.com/filmsandfermentation. You can find a link to our merchandise site at Teespring, as well as a link to our Patreon page. And don't forget to visit The Den, deluxeeditionnetwork.com, to find out more about our podcast and the other podcasts at The Den, including the podcasts of the month, Quad Pro Quo, Steven Crypto Show, and Drink O'Clock. And once again, everyone, do not forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented live. Our next recording is going to be a live recording.
Jersey.
Yes, live from New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Episode 150, live, filling in the plot hole Star Wars edition, Tuesday, May 7th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be sending the link out on all of our social pages for the live chat. We would love to have you join us. You could let us know your opinion on the plot holes that we're going to be filling in during that episode. And remember, if you want to know what's inside the box, like we do, what's in the box, you're going to want to join us for that live broadcast. Live. Once again, I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
You've been listening to the Films and Fermentation podcast. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.